So you told me once that the three opera singers that you really loved were Montserrat Caballé, Leontine Price, and oh God, the third one was wait a minute, Tibaldi.
Tibaldi,
Right.
Renata Tibaldi, yeah. Yeah.
So what do you see in each of those?
Oh gosh. Caballé, the sheer beauty of her pianissimo notes. That's the real high floaty stuff that I try to do, but I'm okay at it. But she was
Yeah.
just a goddess.
The Verdi float.
The Verdi float,
Yeah,
yes. That is her calling card. That is what everybody knows her for. Sure was not her German pronunciation. I say that because I just did a recital in New York last week, and I listened to her Strauss recital. That's all I'm going to say about that. But man, the sound was gorgeous. And Leontine was everything. I mean, raise your hand if you've heard her Aida. Raise your hand if you saw her Aida here. Oh my
Wow.
God. I'm so jealous of all of you.
Wow.
I knew there'd be a few though that have seen that.
That's amazing.
Saw that.
I saw her Aida on a Christmas Eve night at the Met.
Oh.
Like one of my first I saw you at Christmas because I was lonely. Like, where am I?
Yeah.
It was my first time away from Mississippi, living in New York City. I thought, what can I do? I thought, I'm going to go see a Mississippi person at the Met.
Oh, I love that.
So I went to see a Mississippi person at the Met. It was, and I saw her. And
Is she not the most fiery performer?
Oh my God, I was in heaven.
Yeah, her fire is what.
But
what
her
gets me.
first performance ever on any opera stage was here
Yeah.
in this town,
Yeah.
in a role that you did.
Yeah, Dialogues of the Carmelites.
Yes.
Yeah, I did 1957.
57,
Yeah,
right,
it was
yeah.
the English language
Right.
premiere or the American premiere as well. Suzanne was there, I guess. Yeah.
Wow.
I know a few people who were there. But it's daunting. I mean, and then, have you seen the documentary about the chorus here? What's it called? That's the one. Is that the one that she's in? Or what's the other one? I don't remember. Maybe it's the other one. But there's one where she's blowing Kurt Herbert Adler's hair. And that's an Aida performance. Or maybe it was Trovatore. I don't remember. All I know is I sing her repertoire now, and it freaks me out. Because she's done all those roles on the San Francisco Opera stage. And people remember.
Right. Well, they offered her the role of Aida at the Met in '58, and she wouldn't do it. She just wouldn't do it. And I found some quote from Peter Adler, who was the director of the NBC Opera Theater. He said, Leontine is a great artist. When she makes her debut at the Met, she must do it as a lady, not as a slave.
Wow. I did not know that.
Yeah, and she followed his advice and waited.
I love her so much more for that.
Yeah.
That's incredible. I mean, there's a lot of lacking in diversity in the opera scene. There is no such thing as blind casting, and I think it's a shame. Yeah, preach. It's there's sexism in opera. I can have the leading name, I can have the title character, and I still won't make as much as the tenor. Inside scoop, y'all. So sexism and racism is prevalent in our industry. And I think it's prevalent in a lot of industries. So the fact that Leontine did that back then,
58, yeah.
I love her even more. I was reading, what's her name? I can't remember. Marian Anderson, who was denied the opportunity to sing at the National theater, not the in DC.
No.
The
The
yeah, and so she decided to do an impromptu concert for 75,000 of her closest friends. I love that. I love that kind of fire. And I just admire those women so much.
but because you've just become sort of political in your own way.
I know,
here.
I did. I didn't
And this
mean
is on
to.
tape, okay?
I'm never political,
But
ever.
I was going to say, do you have to be in the opera world very circumspect and political the way you navigate a career?
Yes.
Do you take people's advice
You take
gladly
it and
and
then
you do what you want?
you smile, and then you use what you can and leave what you don't. That's the best advice I ever got.
All right.
Was take everything with a smile and use what you can and leave what you don't. Because what you do in your rehearsal time or your private time is nobody's business but yours. And you know what works for you.
And what's it like to have an instrument like you do? Do you feel it is a part of you?
Yes.
Because it's so of your body and your breath, and it's so of you, and yet it is this separate. It's this separate thing that you have to protect and honor.
Yeah.
So there's almost like a parallel thing going on with. Do you ever resent it because you have to live a certain life
Yes.
to keep it? That's what I'm
Yes,
asking.
I do from time to time, but then I used to. I don't really anymore because I love what I do and I love singing on the stage. I just love it. My voice, I would say, when I sing, I want to say that my soul is revealed. That's how intimately I feel what I do. And I think there are a lot of singers who would agree with me on that. That's why criticism is really hard to take, because you just stood on stage and sang your face off and done the absolute best you can, and you're bleeding and crying and there's pieces of you all over the stage. But, you're not the ideal Desdemona.
But are you talking about criticism in the press, or criticism from fellow performers, or the director, or
Yes,
a conductor, or
all.
all of it?
All.
Okay.
But it's a necessary part of the art form, I think, as well. And that's not to say that, constructive criticism like, that teachers give you. And some criticism is necessary. But it's hard to take. And I'm being completely honest. This is Leah Unplugged.
Right.
This is all honesty speaking. It's hard to take. But
Do you ever think when you have to take it, you use it for the art, or does it get in the way of the art?
No, I have come to the point where I use it, and it drives me to be better. And some reviews, like the one you read, I was like, what are you talking about me? Because that makes me want to live up to that review.
Right.
So the good and the bad you run with, because that's all you can do or you'll die,
Have you ever thought about not reading them?
I don't, unless they're sent to me.
Okay.
And sometimes they are.
And what's it like? I mean, there's a whole new world out there of online opera fans. and
Bloggers.
I mean, they're like, opera fanatics. And do you engage with them?
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
I am. My presence on social media.
I was leading you in this question.
Yes, I think social media is the biggest tool that opera singers don't use. It connects us with a younger generation, and we're on their level on there, and they feel like they have direct contact to you. And I have made some friends at the San Francisco Girls Chorus and the Conservatory and the Performing Arts High School because of Twitter and Instagram. And I know these high school girls and people in general. Like, where's James? We tweet all the time. I see him on Twitter all the time, and I feel like we've met before tonight, though. Did we meet before tonight? No. Physically, we're meeting
right,
tonight.
right.
But I feel like I've known him because of Twitter.
Right.
And that happens. I mean, I have my fan page on Facebook that I'm very active with, and my people are very active on there too. I love social media. I'm a huge advocate for it.
And when I'm always curious about how a young person gets pulled to opera. I mean, it's because you do think of it as like an older person. I mean, you go to the opera, you look around, and it's
That's
like,
what we're trying to change.
I know, but like, what? I read when you went to see Carmen, I think, in like fifth grade. You didn't want to play Carmen though. You wanted.
I was drawn to Micaela because she
Right.
had my voice.
Okay.
I could sing those high notes
Right.
that she had, and that was fifth grade. And my mom took me, and where I grew up in Adrian, Michigan, we had a symphony orchestra. It's a town of 20,000 people. Okay, we had a symphony orchestra, a community theater, and an opera company, all growing up. So I was in the chorus of Madame Butterfly and La Boheme before I was 16. And then I was doing community theater that whole time as well, like singing The Witch and Into the Woods and The Baker's Wife. I got to do both of them. And singing the Broadway musical Swing. Do any of you know that one? Anne Hampton Calloway, I actually took voice lessons with her mother in New York City. But I got to sing the role that she sang, and which Blues in the Night was one of my calling cards. I don't do it now because very much. I did it at the Christmas party thing on the San Francisco Opera stage once, but it's a voice wrecker, so I try to stay away from that. But yeah, it's a
What was it about a town of 20,000 people that had such, like, was it in the water?
well, I
It's
believe,
like the anti-Flint.
Let me just put it to you this way. This is my Mitchin. This is Adrian. All surrounding Adrian is cornfields and
Right.
wheat fields
Right.
and fields
Right.
and fields and fields.
Right.
People worked their asses off to get out of town. So it was a very culturally rich town because people were working so hard to be the best that they could be. I was in voice lessons from the time I was in 7th grade. My mom heard me singing to myself upstairs, and I was just, imitating Pavarotti because my dad played the three tenors all the time.
I was going to ask you, what was on the turntable? What was
Nessun
listened
Dorma,
to
baby.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
So that was what you were raised on in your
Yeah.
home.
And Giuseppe Di Stefano singing the Neapolitan songs, and which I couldn't sing one of those to you now, but I heard them when I was a kid. And that my dad and my dad didn't really like to go to the theater. He would go if we were performing, but he didn't like to go. He liked to sit and listen. And my mom, however, grew up with her parents used to take her into New York City because both my mom and my dad's family were all from Connecticut. So she saw the original cast of Sweeney Todd and, all the things like that. So she was very into the theater, and she had been to the Metropolitan Opera. She saw Butterfly and Bohème, all the, the standards. So my parents were the ones that really, fed me this music. And then when I would imitate them, I was like, this is what I should be doing. This is my voice. And then I heard Carmen, and I was like, okay, that's me. I'm not going to be an opera singer. I just remember sitting there like this the whole time. Me, a fifth grader. I was also a little bit hyper when I was in fifth grade. So the fact that I sat there for 3 hours without, getting threatened by my mom was huge. I'm going to pull this car over,
So singing opera is all about silencing your mother. Finally. I think we just
Oh my
had an
gosh,
epiphany.
have you been talking to my therapist?
We've just had an epiphany.
We
Okay.
did.
All right.
No, it's my mom always says that she's living vicariously through me because she loves opera so much. But I mean, I wouldn't be where I am without the support of my parents. My mom specifically, she used to drive me to my voice lessons, and you know, I learned a lot of great
But
things from her.
that little part in New York City, had you given up the dream of being an opera
Yes,
singer?
absolutely.
So you were living a dreamless life.
I was miserable.
Or did you feel hopeless? Was that?
To be completely honest with you, I went through a time in my life where weed was considered a drug then, and I was smoking a lot of it. And nobody knows this, so we're having confession time here. Through like 2004 to 2006, I felt completely lost. And I felt like I was too old to be an opera singer because my friend Jenny had already done all these amazing programs, and I didn't know what to do, so I bought classical singer, and found all the auditions, and I was like, I can't do this. I don't have $50 to pay my application fee. That's still a lot of money, but it was a lot of money back then, you know? And so I was hopeless. I was a little bit of partier. I would go out all night, and after, you can sing this music and be drunk.
A little rough, yeah.
Yeah. To be real, so...
Was that one of the reasons that you would go into the clubs? You were a little high, or you were a little drunk, and those were your people?
Yeah.
It was a safe place to be the person you were at that point in your life.
Yeah, it was safe. Christian Slater was there, so. And he was higher and drunker than I could ever dream of being.
I know, but because you do think of the opera world, it takes discipline. But but that kind of behavior goes on everywhere. So I assume it's in the opera world too.
Oh yes.
But
sure Sherry could tell us some
But how can one be messy in the opera world?
Well, I am not now. I live kind of like a nun now.
Yeah.
No, it's true though. I love my job. I love my life, and I know that I need to be a good steward with my voice, and that doesn't allow me to smoke weed.
That goes back to
and drink.
But there's an old Chinese proverb that says the temptation to quit will be greatest just before you are about to succeed. And when I read that today, when I was Googling around doing my research, I'm like, oh, that's her life.
That's my life. That is.
She was.
I've never read that.
She was just about to quit.
Yeah.
And it happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought my life was ending. I thought, what's the point?
So opera has sort of saved you.
Yeah. Yeah. Finding my ability to thrive in opera has saved me.
Right.
Meeting Sherry saved me. I was a lost puppy when I was in the auditions, and they made me sing every aria on my list.
Right.
Every single one. And, I don't think I thank her all the time, but I don't think she knew what a dark place I was in when I was auditioning. Yeah.
But you can still sing.
That's my soul.
Right.
You know.
Art sometimes I think sometimes art can destroy people
Yes.
because they don't know, they don't feel worthy of their gift.
Mm-hmm.
I think you have to get to a point of feeling worthy of your gift.
Yeah.
And somehow you were blessed enough,
Yeah.
maybe, not to get back to the Bible college, but
No, you can go
but
back there, 'cause that's a big part of my life, too.
But you could be grateful. You have to be grateful for the blessing of your gift.
Yeah.
You feel like you deserve it and own it.
Yeah.
And
Well,
live in it.
I feel like it is a gift, and I feel like if I don't do my very best with it, then I am I'm committing a crime,
Right.
because it's my responsibility, and I have to share it with you. I have to.
Well, there's so many operas are about darkness. There's so much
Yeah.
darkness in opera.
I die in
And yet
every
there's-
single one.
And yet and yet you have found, I think,
Yeah.
the joy in the art of it.
Yes.
So there's this dichotomy of, we're going to give you all this darkness, and as we're giving it to you, we're going to celebrate it and be joyous about the sound, the gift, the feeling you're you're getting from it. I like incongruity, and when I sit in an opera and I see these melodramatic, stories, I'm amazed at the joy and the bliss I get out of such darkness.
Yeah, it's
this
something.
weird thing that goes. The book that I just gave you.
Yeah.
There's this wonderful book out by Alexander Chi. That I just gave her as a gift before she came on, and there's a quote in it. It
Ooh,
says,
I can't wait.
"The ridiculous and beloved thief that is opera, the singer who sneaks into the palace of your heart and somehow enters the stage singing aloud the secret hope or love or grief you hoped would always stay secret, disguised as melodrama."
Oh,
That's opera.
truth.
I mean, that
It's
quote
truth.
like really gets at the heart of it.
Yeah.
But jazz sort of does that too.
Yeah.
I mean, there's the darkness to jazz when you go into those smoky clubs and you're high and
Even the happy tunes are
Right.
full of lagrima,
right, yeah.
the tears,
I mean, her last number is going to be by Duke Ellington. It's this amazing song she's about to sing, and I told you I found the quote about how he wrote this. Let me see. Let me see if I can find
He
it.
wrote it like in 5 minutes.
Right, yeah. She's going to sing in a sentimental mood because you sort of put me in a sentimental mood, honey.
Oh, me
you
too,
do.
honey.
I adore you.
I adore you.
I mean, truly, you.
And your sweet puppies.
Oh, thank you. She came to my house to be photographed for a magazine I used to be editor-in-chief of. And I thought, where can I shoot her? I thought, you know what? I want her at my house. I want to know this person.
The roof.
So she came over to my house, and you would think, I was worried because it's like, oh, she's an opera diva, and she's like, I'm going to bring her over to my house. I'm going to put her in my kitchen at 9 a.m., and we're going to do her hair at 9 a.m. in my kitchen. And you were such a great sport. And I put on some Ella Fitzgerald, and all of a sudden, as the woman was like teasing your hair and doing your makeup, she started to sing along with Ella Fitzgerald in my kitchen at 9 a.m. And I thought, this is the woman I saw as Mimi in La Boheme like only a few months ago, who made me realize I could be at home in San Francisco. And here she was in my kitchen, in my home, singing Ella Fitzgerald. Talk about feeling blessed and in the
Aw,
moment.
thank you.
So I get very sentimental about you.
Aww.
But she's going to sing this song by Duke Ellington, who wrote it in Durham, North Carolina. I think there's some North Carolina or some Carolina folks here. And,
I was born in South Carolina.
You were?
I was.
Vinny, you were born in South Carolina. It said, quote, "We had played a big dance in a tobacco warehouse. And afterwards, a friend of mine, an executive in the North Carolina Mutual Insurance Company, threw a party for Amy. I was playing piano when another one of our friends had some trouble with 2 chicks. To pacify them, I composed this there and then, with one chick standing on each side of the piano." This is the song he wrote.
Just musically. The lyrics came later, but
yeah.
the lyrics fit the mood.
So this is her last number of the evening.
It's also the debut. I've never sung this before. But it's when I was in Verona singing at the Arena, singing Il Trovatore, which is a tough nut to crack. It's hard to find Leonora sometimes. But that was a hard summer because I was there for so long and I was alone, and I had 9 days off right in a row. So I would put on my Divas of Jazz album, and I would draw myself a bath, and I would open the windows, and the breeze would just come in, and this song would just calm everything about me. In a sentimental mood, I can see the stars come through my room while your loving attitude
like a flame that lights the gloom on the wings of every kiss, every kiss, every kiss. I can see the world so heavenly in this sentimental bliss. You've made my paradise, my paradise complete. Rose petals seem to fall, it's all like a dream to call you mine, to call you mine. My heart's a lighter thing since you made this night a thing divine. In a sentimental mood, I'm within a world so heavenly. For I never dreamed that you'd be loving sentimental me.
One more.
If only. I'm
Take a request.
I'm sticking. I don't think we have that.
We need a tip jar.
I know. We need like a snifter of brandy up here, but no brandy for now. I'm sticking with the English theme, and this is an aria that I identify so much with. I don't know why, but it's part of me, and I love it. It's Carlisle Floyd's Ain't It a Pretty Night from Susanna.
Ain't it a wonder what it's like out there, out there beyond them mountains, where the folks talk nice and the folks dress nice, like you see in the mail order catalogs. I aim to leave this valley someday and find out for myself, to see all the tall buildings and all the street lights, and to be one of them folks myself. I wonder if I'd get lonesome for the valley though, for the sound of crickets and the smell of barn straw, for soft little rabbits and golden things and the mountains turning golden in fall. But I can always come back if I get homesick for the valley. So I'll leave it someday and see for myself. Someday I'll leave and then I'll come back when I've seen what's beyond it. In a prairie night, the sky's so heavy with stars tonight that it might fall right down out of heaven and cover